You might recognise these colossal trees behind me as giant sequoias, or redwoods native to North America. But if I'm not in California, where am I? Find out in just a moment. On today's show, our house hunters yearn for great views and wide open spaces. As far as properties go, we get off to a near perfect start.
Yeah, I don't think we can get better than this. This is fantastic for us, yeah.
And as we get closer to that vision of what they want, it becomes a bit overwhelming.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Today, I'm in Argyll Bute in Scotland at Benmore Botanic Garden near Dunoon. These massive redwoods were planted back in 1863 by an American, Piers Patrick, who was then the owner of the Benmore estate. These soaring specimens are thought to be some of the tallest outside of their native North America. With an estimated lifespan of around 3,000 years, let's face it, they're still mere babies. Now, the climate here in Argyll is relatively mild yet wet, and that has helped these beautiful trees thrive, so much so that the tallest already measures some 177 feet. That's the height of 12 double-decker buses. Argyll Bute refers to the 23 inhabited islands in the southwest of the country and is the second largest region in Scotland after Highland, covering 9% of the country's landmass. The largest island in Argyll is Mull, with its vast mountain range towering 3,000 feet at its highest point. Nearly 80% of Argyll Bute's population live within half a mile of the coast, and the region boasts some of the most breathtaking waterscapes in Britain. Separating Bute from Argyll is the Kyles of Bute, a narrow sea strait flanked by carpets of woodland and outcrops of rock. Its narrowest point is just a third of a mile across. The longest sea loch in Scotland can also be found in the region. With its well-deserved reputation for oysters, Loch Fyne is 40 miles in length and deeper than the height of London's Telecom Tower. Perched above its shore is the 18th century neo-Gothic splendour of Inverara Castle. With coastal and mountain scenery to rival anywhere in the UK and rich heritage to discover in its towns and villages, it's no wonder this magical corner of Scotland appeals to those seeking the peace and tranquility of island life. Across Argyll Bute, the average price of a detached house here costs around £233,000. That's a very generous £50,000 below the national figure. Really good value for money for those who are truly looking to get away from it all. So, what's attracting today's buyers to this stunning Scottish scenery? Let's meet them and find out. Steve and Rebecca from the market town of Brigg in Lincolnshire have been married for 6 years after meeting through an online dating agency and embarking on a whirlwind romance.
On the first date, I think we knew it was going to be kind of serious, and we hit it off very well. And it developed into a full-fledged relationship very quickly, and Rebecca became my soulmate. And I couldn't wait to marry her in the end.
Steve runs a renewable energy business, and Rebecca is a chartered accountant. They currently live in an open-plan eco-house they developed themselves.
It uses very little energy, and we achieve that by using a solid fuel log burner. We also have solar PV panels, which provide us with a lot of electricity. We also have solar thermal system, which provides us with domestic hot water. Really, the combination of all those enables us to have a virtually cost-free lifestyle here, I suppose.
But while they're quite happy with their current property, their move to Scotland is driven by a need for having wide open space around them to enjoy during their spare time.
The choice of Scotland is just the beautiful scenery, the quietness, and just views and enjoying the walks, really.
Between them, Steve and Rebecca have 7 children from previous relationships. With the kids having grown up and left home, finding the right environment for their 2 dogs is driving this move.
The aim is to be somewhere where we can just physically open the front door and be out there, straight onto a beach or straight into the woods. And so the dogs are changing our lives.
Although Steve is ready to pack up his bags, Rebecca, who grew up in Brigg, is a little more cautious about a rural adventure.
I'm ready to for isolation, and if we didn't see anyone for a couple of days, that really wouldn't faze me at all.
It sounds ideal, being isolated and out of the way, but the practicalities of it and getting shopping, and we'll have to see where we end up.
Yeah.
While they won't be giving up their jobs entirely and will rely on the internet to carry on with their work, this move is about redressing that all-important work-life balance.
I guess what excites us, for me anyway, moving forward, it's the next stage of our life. It's about creating time and space for ourselves and what we want to do. I feel...
It's a more laid-back lifestyle.
Yeah, a more laid-back lifestyle. While we're here, I think our work and other scenarios impact, or we allow it to impact, whereas up there, it will not be allowed to impact, and we become the priority.
Rebecca and Steve will be toing and froing between Scotland and Lincolnshire in the short term and don't want to be too remote. So we're concentrating our property search on the Cowal Peninsula, which is a 2-hour car and ferry journey from Glasgow. I'm meeting up with them on the banks of the Firth of Clyde to run over their property requests.
Well, I must say, this must feel worlds away from Lincolnshire, mustn't it?
Just a tad.
Bit different, but this is why you're here, isn't it?
Yes, it's so beautiful, isn't it?
It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
What does a house look like in your mind's eye, then, Rebecca?
The house doesn't look like anything, really. It's where it is.
OK.
It's what's around it, having the views, having maybe some woodland, having a bit of beach, having somewhere secure for the dogs is what we're looking for. It's us and 2 dogs that are coming up here, and it's just spending the time outside together.
Now, if you want, you know, access to a beach, access to woodlands, doesn't sound like you got a supermarket on the round the corner,
Nope.
does it?
That doesn't matter, no.
Not at all.
So describe your idea of isolation, if you like. How far away?
A room with a big freezer.
Right. Do you like people?
I think as we're getting older, we're beginning to find that we're less willing to accept other people's lack of social graces. And
Right, OK.
if I'm being truthful with
So
you.
rather than change the world, you just thought you'd get away from it?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Run away.
Exactly,
Good for you.
that's it. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the size of the house itself. How many bedrooms do you want?
2 to 3 bedrooms.
Who's coming to visit?
Just
Hopefully
my
no one.
parents.
No one. OK.
Our ideal would be open plan, just open plan living.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, that's what we like.
But if a house needs some work, cosmetic or otherwise, you're prepared to get stuck in?
Yeah, we'll flatten it and rebuild it if necessary.
Probably that would be more attractive to us.
Now, money-wise, what's the budget?
The budget maximum is 350,000. That's obviously all in, completely done. So if we've got a project, we obviously have to build that into the figures.
I noticed this happy-go-lucky persona, Rebecca, suddenly changed into a steely glaze when you gave me that
She's
figure.
an accountant.
Yeah. So will you know this place when you see it?
I think we will.
I think so, yeah.
Yes,
It's a
before
gut
we even
feeling.
go in.
It's an instinct, definitely.
Right, OK. Well, let's hope we get that gut feeling in one of the 3 houses. Let's get started.
Thank you.
Armed with a maximum budget of £350,000, Rebecca and Steve are after a house with an open plan layout and 3 bedrooms. They don't mind undertaking a project because for them, it's all about the location and setting of their new home. Ideally, they'd like to be close to a beach to walk the dogs, but at the very least, the property should have an impressive view of its surroundings. We've scoured the local property market to secure the best available homes for Rebecca and Steve to mull over, but I won't be revealing the house price to them until the end of the tour. Our mystery house will challenge them on the kind of space they want inside while giving them lots of it on the outside. Our first house is located on the Cowal Peninsula in a hamlet called Stratheg. It's just one of a scattering of settlements along the eastern banks of Loch Eck, whose hauntingly beautiful waters are home to Scotland's rarest freshwater fish, the powan. The closest amenities are in Dunoon, 10 miles away. The town's favourable location on the edge of the Firth of Clyde led to its development as a popular Victorian holiday resort for wealthy Glaswegians. And its centre features a range of shops and cafes. Our first property is found close to Loch Eck and enjoys a special view of Ben Vor, the highest hill in the area, which towers above the loch's western shoreline.
Right then, our first offering for you both.
Fantastic looking property.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very modern.
Yeah. How old do you think it is?
Well, I know how old it is, thankfully. This large part was built initially around 1849 to 1850,
Oh, wow. Right.
with a slightly more modern extension. Now, it was converted by the current owner, well, they started in 2004
Okay.
and finished in around 2008.
Right.
Now, positioning. I mean, it's just like Lincolnshire, isn't it?
Wow.
Yes.
Yes, beautiful location.
Yeah.
Yes.
Without a doubt, fabulous.
Excellent. Let's get inside.
Built with thick stone walls, inside the construction bones a timber frame with hefty insulation to satisfy energy-conscious Steve. At the moment, there's oil-fired heating, but he could easily install a more environmentally friendly, cost-effective system, such as a biomass boiler if he wishes.
So, the first house, first impressions.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Very sharp.
The size, the height of the ceilings, the openness, beautiful.
Now, coming round to the kitchen area, is this your taste?
Yes.
Very much
like
our
it very
layout,
much,
isn't it?
Yes. Wouldn't need to change it at all.
No.
Yeah, like it very much.
But this is the
lo-
hub of the home, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Really?
love the light flooding through the windows.
Let's go and have a look at the living room.
This is by no means a vast living space, but I thought the open-plan nature of the kitchen would hit the mark, and I'm confident the next room will also appeal to their tastes.
Wow.
What I love about this house is,
This is lovely.
well, what you
Beautiful.
see is what you get. This is
Fantastic.
the main part of the barn. It's lovely, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely gorgeous, isn't it?
Perfect little layout, isn't it?
Yeah, got the log burner. Yeah, I don't think we can get better than this. This is fantastic for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting.
All right, well, so far, so good.
Yeah.
Let's have a look upstairs.
Okay.
Upstairs, off a central landing, are 3 bedrooms. At one end of the house, there's a generous double, and next to that, a smaller double, as well as a 3-piece bathroom, all in the eaves and with skylight windows. At the opposite end of the property is the bedroom I've earmarked for our buyers.
Now, your master, I think, is very impressive.
Wow. Yes, good size. Excellent.
I've always had a bit of an issue with vaulted ceilings, though. But I've got to say, I think they've done it really well. Because it doesn't impose on the main living area, does it, too badly?
There's plenty of room there for us.
Yeah, yeah.
But imagine lying in that bed.
Looking at those views.
It'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Now, ensuite, as you'd expect from a master bedroom of any modern conversion.
Yeah.
Let's go back outside, but also on our way out there, start thinking about price. Can I just squeeze through there? Thanks.
So the house gets the thumbs up, and since the outside space takes full advantage of those views, both Steve and Rebecca should be equally impressed with the land that comes with the property. It extends to the front and side and consists of a manageable lawn space bordered by a low stone wall, and beyond it, a stunning backdrop of the hills behind. But there's also an option to purchase more land, up to 2 acres, which lies fallow at the moment.
Now, back in the beautiful outdoors.
Yes. Absolutely stunning.
So, your first attempt at guessing prices up here. Who wants to go first?
Shall I make a stab?
Go on then.
It is a guess. I'm going to go 300.
£300,000.
Yeah.
I'm going to go slightly over. I shall go for 315,000.
Well done. This house is on the market for offers around £315,000.
That's good.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Very good. No, it's a good price.
Well, hopefully this is something to really have a good think about. Why don't you go back into the house now,
Okay.
have a scoot around on your own, maybe have a look around some of the bedrooms you haven't yet
Yeah,
seen,
that's good, thank
and
you.
I'll meet you whenever you're done.
Thank
Okay,
you.
All right.
Thank you.
See you in a moment.
Okay.
Well, they said up to £350,000 for a house with nothing to do to it. This house has nothing to do to it. They've got loads of change, so hopefully worthy of serious consideration.
Under budget by £35,000, our first house is a converted stone barn which has been remodelled in the last 10 years to give it a cosy but modern feel inside. An open-plan kitchen leads onto a stone-tiled living room, and upstairs there are 3 bedrooms. With vistas of the highest hill in the vicinity, the property is situated close to the banks of a popular loch.
I really love property 1. I love the space downstairs. I love the location. And yes, there is a chance I could live in this house, yes. The water view is the dream. In the checklist of all the important things we wanted, the water view was up there at number 1. But the views from this property into the mountains and the woodlands is absolutely superb, and it maybe could be a compromise that we could make.
The slight downside for me would be the sloping ceilings in the bathrooms. Being quite a tall guy, shaving and showering could be a little bit of a challenge without bopping my head. But this property was certainly far better than I think certainly I'd hoped.
So is this a house with a view that's worthy of consideration, do you think?
We think so, yes.
Without a doubt.
Something to beat.
Yeah.
Come with me.
Thank you.
The abundance of crystal clear fresh water in the region's lochs make Argyll Bute a suitable spot to produce one of Scotland's most famous national brands, single malt whisky. Whereas blended whiskies are a combination of different brands, single malts originate from an individual distillery, and one of the oldest can be found in the town of Oban. Since Steve and Rebecca are keen to embrace the heritage of their new homeland, we sent them to sample this distilled delicacy. They're meeting Operations Manager Ronnie Whiteford.
Hello.
Good
Hello,
morning, Rebecca. Steve,
Ronnie.
welcome to Argyll Distillery.
How long has the distillery been here?
The distillery itself's been here since 1794. For the first year it was actually a brewery. It was changed to a distillery in 1794.
Oh, why did it change?
I think it was just the demand for whisky was starting to take off at that point, and they seen an opportunity. It's all local products that we use, which is the malted barley, the good clean water that we have here in the town, and yeast, which is a living organism. If we come this way, we'll show you what goes on in the process.
Thank you.
There are 3 simple stages in making a classic single malt. First, releasing the sugars from the barley, which is done by malting, drying and mashing the barley with fresh water from a nearby loch to produce a sugary liquid. Then it's fermented by adding yeast to create alcohol naturally before the final stage, distilling the liquid to increase its alcohol content.
This is a still house, and this is where all the magic occurs. As you'll see, we only have 2 very small stills. We have a wash still and we have a spirit still. So once we've gathered the sugary liquid that we call it wash, and we're going to put it into our wash still, the basic distillation process is alcohol will boil at 78 degrees, water will boil at 100 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to heat up the still to approximately 90, 95 degrees, and we will be boiling off the alcohol, and we'll leave behind any residues. After the first run, we're sitting with alcohol about 26%, and after the second run in our spirit still, the alcohol increased to 70%.
So what happens after that?
After that, it's taken away and it's put into barrels, where it will mature for, in our case, for Oban 14, it's 14 years old.
In order to be classed as a single malt, by law, all Scottish varieties must be matured in oak casks for at least 3 years. At most distilleries, the ageing process is longer, as this is when whisky takes on its distinctive taste, as well as allowing evaporation of some of the alcohol through the cask. With a production run of 850,000 litres of whisky a year, Steve and Rebecca don't have to wait 14 years to sample the product.
So here we are, where you'll get your first taste of our Oban whisky. This is a Valange, and I'm going to use that to draw a sample out of the cask. I would always advocate, when you're tasting a nice malt whisky, that you taste it straight to begin with. If you take a small sip, hold it in your mouth, and really let the flavours work in your mouth before you swallow it.
Very nice.
Very good. Definitely get the smokiness in there and the fruit. Very good.
Nice.
It's clear Steve and Rebecca have got a taste for Scotland, but we need to find a property to whet their appetite, so it's back to the house hunt. For our second offering, we're heading to the southern tip of the Cowell Peninsula. Nearby Tyner Brook overlooks the Kyles of Bute, a narrow stretch of water separating Bute from Argyll, and is arguably one of the most beautiful villages in the region. Its Gaelic name, meaning the house on the hill, is appropriate as many of the properties rising above the shoreline, including some of the fine Victorian villas, have commanding views over the water. As well as numerous hotels and guest houses, the village is home to a collection of cafes and an art gallery. House 2 is 6 miles from here, situated in a secluded spot at the end of a long drive which opens out onto stunning views over the Firth of Clyde towards the Isle of Arran.
Now then, I'm keen on hearing your first impressions for the house, but the reason we're here is this.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
I wanted to keep this a surprise.
That's special, isn't it? Very special.
oh dear. What
And it would have to be today, wouldn't it?
What have you done? We haven't even seen the house yet.
Who cares about the house?
Well, exactly.
I actually don't want to go in the house. Get used to this, can't you?
You could, yes.
I would have.
So let's talk about the house. Come on.
Yes, it's sparkling nicely in the sun.
I know we're quite remote here,
Right up my street.
but you're here to buy a house with a view, not a view with a house. This morning, you were the other way around.
Yep.
That's changed now, suddenly, isn't it? I'm showing the view.
Yes.
We still have to look around this property. Let's go inside.
Right.
The house itself is a traditional stone-built cottage in need of a little bit of modernisation inside, so both Steve and Rebecca will need to use their imagination.
Don't worry about shutting the door.
OK.
There's no one for miles. Now, you can see straight away, ground floor loo, bear that in mind.
OK.
First reception room. There's stuff to be done to this place, Steve.
Yes.
But bearing in mind, I mean, you're mad keen on eco-friendly and sustainability. This is a place where you could put your own stamp on that.
Very much so.
Would you like to?
I'd like to see how it flows all
Yes.
together, all the rooms first, because probably we'd knock walls down and...
Remodel.
Not this wall down. It's open plan bathroom. Not that kind of entertaining. But guess what? Every room in this house faces that way.
Yes.
Another option with an outstanding outlook is the sunroom just off the lounge, which has a partially tiled shower room to one side. Despite Rebecca's emotional reaction outside, I'm not sure our advocates of open-plan living are buying into the layout and size of the Victorian farm cottage.
We've got a bit of a dining room, which you'd think instantly you might knock through this room to the kitchen, but I want to see what you think first.
It needs a new kitchen. It's doable, isn't it? There's nothing in here that frightens us.
Well, I've not heard Rebecca say anything for a while.
No. Well,
It's not to our
I don't
taste, let's
like
be
it,
quite frank,
no.
but, you know, there's nothing here that's not doable.
So while Steve seems up for a bit of a project, I don't think Rebecca can see past the property's current footprint, despite the overwhelming impression those views made on her. Upstairs, there are the 3 bedrooms they asked for, including a decent-sized double and a larger bedroom with skylights. With bathroom facilities back down on the ground floor, that just leaves the master.
Now then, none of the bedrooms are big, and really disappointingly, the view's behind there.
Yes.
Ah, right, yes. Yeah.
Room in a roof.
Yeah.
Sloping ceilings.
I feel like you'd be making, well, sweeping changes to this house at the very least.
Yeah. We'd need to make it work for us and how we want to live, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And it wouldn't. It doesn't fit that at the minute, does it?
No.
Well, I'm personally dying to get back outside and look at that view again. How about you?
Outstanding.
But on the way, you're gonna have to start thinking about how much this house is for sale for.
OK.
Not easy.
The cottage sits in 2.5 acres of fenced-off land, made up of scrub and grasses and sheltered by conifer trees. There are also 2 outbuildings, currently used by a local farmer for storage, but they could be developed subject to planning permission.
So, Rebecca, have a go at pricing this.
Very difficult one. I'm going to go in at 250.
OK. Steve?
I'll probably go whisker high, about 270.
This place is on the market for offers in the region of £290,000.
OK.
Oh, it's put us in a conundrum, hasn't it?
Well, look, let's face it, you had tears when we arrived here, when you saw that view. What's going through your mind now?
I'm disappointed by the house.
Yeah?
Yeah,
It's a project.
it is.
We could stay out here forever. I could. You need to go back inside the house.
OK.
Have a good look around.
OK.
And I'll catch you in a bit.
Thank you.
OK.
Under budget by £60,000, our second property is a traditional stone-built cottage with stunning views across the Firth of Clyde. Sitting at the end of a very long drive, it offers them the remoteness they wanted. The 3-bedroom house needs remodelling to make it work for our buyers, but the price would allow them to put their stamp on it.
Well, Property 2 location is simply awesome. There's no other way to describe it. The building itself, however, is falling a little bit short in terms of meeting our needs, I think.
This is beyond what I imagined I might see. Yes, you just can't beat what we've got here. But the house, unfortunately, I feel really deflated after going around the house and disappointed because I really can't see how we can make it work as it is for ourselves.
In a rather shameful way, I think for us we would end up so extensively refurbishing it, it would be as beneficial for us to start with a clean canvas, to make it the home of our dreams. The question is, ultimately, do we want to do it?
Make the most of this. I think it's one of a kind, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Unique, absolutely.
So you seen all you need to see?
I think so.
OK.
Yeah.
Let's go and get a drink.
Thank you.
It's the second day of our property search in Argyll Bute with Steve and Rebecca from the town of Brigg in Lincolnshire. They have a budget of £350,000 to spend on a Scottish retreat. Coming up, there's the mystery house, which will test their resolve for a project.
Give that a knock.
That's a start.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I get a chance to sample a natural homegrown delicacy after a little hesitation.
You can munch on that, take a piece of that now and just try it.
You joking?
No, it's lovely, honestly, perfectly fine.
Well, Rebecca and Steve have certainly shown me they're able to think laterally to make a property right for them. And the mystery house, well, it's going to be one of those projects. The house itself can be configured exactly the way they want it, but I think they'll need to remove a few internal walls. And it also gives them the opportunity to have fantastic water views. They'll just need to remove a few trees. This property is all about Steve and Rebecca using their imagination. Let's see how we go. What would you love to see now? But knowing there might be challenges.
I would love to see property number 1
Don't say it.
in the location looking out on the water.
Right, get out. Out. I made a solemn promise to the estate agent that when they say I'd like to pick property number 1 and 2, I would throw my
You
tea
hate
over
that,
it.
don't you? Yeah. Everybody says that. Just move that property. Yeah. The impossible.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
For our mystery property, we're travelling back towards Dunoon to the coastal hamlet of Kilmun. The neighbouring village of Strone is the place for provisions, with amenities including a post office and a hotel. The mystery house is found in the smaller settlement of Kilmun on the edge of Holy Loch, an inlet along the Firth of Clyde providing natural shelter to yachts and boats. Set within a private woodland clearing, it occupies an elevated yet secluded position on the edge of the loch. With our mystery property, we're throwing down the gauntlet of knocking down more walls. So I'm keen to see if Steve and Rebecca are up for the challenge.
Here we come. Here's the mystery house.
Wow, it looks very big.
It does, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
first impression's very large.
Now, top of your shopping list was what?
Views.
Views. Now,
Yeah.
you can see behind us,
Yeah.
beautiful Holy Loch,
Yeah.
right? Within the month, they are going to get someone to fell those trees.
Oh, wow.
You will have amazing views
Oh,
with
wow.
all these conifers gone.
Good spot. Very good spot.
We'll go in through the back door because that's the door they use every day. So follow
Okay,
me.
thank you.
Dating back to the late Victorian era, the property has been added to in recent years. The original part of the house consists of a number of individual rooms, so Steve and Rebecca will need to use their imagination here. To the left, a newer extension has a more open plan feel. And to the right, another extension features an office space and upstairs bedroom connected by a first floor footbridge. But we're starting off our tour in the older part.
Now then, a very different prospect we have here.
Yeah, it's nice size.
For me, it's a bit too busy, and we do like open space. That's my first reaction, but it's been done well.
The floors are good for the dogs.
Yeah,
Again,
absolutely, yeah.
that's very dog friendly.
But you also have the opportunity of having a separate dining room,
Right.
Okay.
another living room, as well as a fantastic room through here. So let me show you that.
Okay.
This room used to be a conservatory until about 4 years ago, when they completely redid it and made it a proper room.
Yeah, this is nice. This is more
This has
us,
been
isn't
done
it?
very
The
well.
light coming through. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It's
phenomenal.
really nice.
Yeah, this is a homemaker, this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Keep it as a living room, or do you want to see more living spaces before you make that decision?
Yeah, let's see some more.
Yeah? OK, follow me.
The rest of the ground floor features a dining room with bay window, a contemporary fully tiled shower room, and in the extended part of the property, a modern home office.
The owners use this as their snug. What do you think?
It's snug.
It's a fair-sized room, and
Yeah,
it's
it
the one
used
that's
to be.
going to have those fantastic views.
I'm just wondering what we could actually remodel to
Give it
make
a
it
tap.
fit. Yeah.
Give that a knock.
That's a start.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if the walls aren't load-bearing, Steve and Rebecca could make alterations to the ground floor layout. Upstairs there are 4 bedrooms, and they include a double-sized room at the front of the house and a smaller single at the back. One of the other doubles is being used as an office, and there's a further study area just off the landing. Finally, making up the first floor, there's a 3-piece family bathroom featuring a corner bath, and the main bedroom of this property.
This is over the top of that office area that we saw as we first walked up.
Yeah.
What's going through your minds? This is your third and final property.
My initial impression is that it's perhaps too big for what we want. It's kind of wasted
need.
on us,
Or
really.
need.
Right.
Yeah, or need,
Yeah,
perhaps.
it's fantastic property.
There is a responsibility of this property. You know, you've got not only a big house, but you've got grounds as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's discuss that. Also, start getting your mind around how much this place might be.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Most of the garden is to the rear and is mainly grassed with feature paths, landscaped walkways and assorted shrubs and bushes. The back of the sloping plot is bordered by neighbouring woodland, providing a high degree of privacy and the opportunity to explore.
Dogs would love it.
Well, the dogs would love it. Yeah.
Absolutely adore
Not just here. There is a walk, a woodland walk, right at the end of your garden. You can just walk for 7 miles.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
OK, time to guess the price. Who's going first?
Steve can.
Tough one. I'd probably go about 350, I think.
I think it's more than that. I think it's blown our budget. I think it's about 380.
Well, very good guesses, because the owner is asking for offers in excess of £345,000.
Very good value.
That's good value.
Well, they are expecting to get above that 345.
I'm not surprised.
Be it 350 or 370 odd,
Yeah.
you'll never know until you get into the negotiation process. But I know they want in excess of that figure.
It's certainly worth that.
Definitely worth that, yes.
Go and have a wander. I'll catch you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under budget by a whisker, our extensive mystery house dates back to the Victorian era, with more of an individual room layout rather than the open plan proportions they wanted. There are 3 separate reception areas and 4 bedrooms. Although this challenges them with an internal building project, the stunning location is everything they've asked for.
Location with the sea and the woodlands behind it is just outstanding. For me, it's a bit too busy internally. We generally prefer to have more sort of open space.
It's a fantastic house. It's perhaps not for us because of it's too big for us. It needs a family in this house, but it's absolutely stunning.
Rebecca and I would never use this property to its full potential.
You didn't get lost in that massive garden, then?
We had a good wander. It's
lovely, isn't it?
Very big, yes.
Astonishing.
Well, that's all 3 properties. Let's find somewhere for you guys to have a bit of a chin wag and think things through, shall we?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The rocky shoreline and crystal clear waters make the Western Isles a fertile breeding ground for seaweed. The edible algae has been harvested here for centuries. Initially consumed by coastal dwellers by the 17th century, it was big business. As well as eating it, locals used seaweed to fertilise the land and burned kelp to produce potash, a raw material in glass making. By the early 20th century, the Scottish industry had all but disappeared. Now, though, it's undergoing a bit of a revival. To help me untangle the story of this underwater vegetation, I've come to meet former milk truck driver turned seaweed farmer, Ian McKellar.
Ian.
Hello.
I've come prepared for work. Now, seaweed. What's our big obsession with this stuff?
Well, apparently it's the healthiest substance on the planet.
On the planet?
On the planet. You'll not get anything healthier than seaweed.
Why is it so good for you, I suppose?
It's because of the nutrients and the mineral content. It has everything. Whereas, where you need your 5 a day, when you've got your seaweed, you've got all your nutrients, your minerals, every trace element the body needs is all in the one place.
Listen, mate, why aren't we all down here getting this stuff then?
It's an acquired taste.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, looking around, Ian, this stuff here, I suppose there's lots of different types and varieties.
There's hundreds of types. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of different species of seaweed.
Right, what's this?
That's bladderwrack. That's probably the most common one you'll see. That's the one you'll find in supplements when you go to your store and you get a little capsule.
Yeah.
That's what they use for that.
OK.
Seaweed contains a huge range of vitamins, including B12, as well as iodine and iron, and all British seaweeds are edible. However, the seaweed must be grown in a pollution-free environment, such as here on the Argyll Bute coast.
Well, I'm glad I'm getting to put these waders to work.
Ian harvests all of his seaweed from a 2-mile stretch of shoreline, with sustainability always in mind, as he only collects to order and carefully cuts it by hand. Today, I'm helping him gather the common brown kelp, bladderwrack.
Just cut it an inch or 2 above the rock and you'll be fine there. There's just scissors there, right.
Right, OK.
You can munch on that, take a piece of that now and just try it.
You joking?
No, it's lovely, honestly, perfectly fine. Give it a second.
It tasted of pretty much absolutely nothing initially, and then suddenly just a taste of the sea almost. It's just...
Aye.
As well as eating it raw and wet, harvested seaweed can be dried, giving it a longer shelf life for use in soups, sauces, and as a garnish. The whole process is carried out naturally.
So here we are, Aladdin's cave.
This is the drying unit.
I can see we've got a tarpaulin blowing away, but just the elements are running through here, aren't
I've
they?
just recreated a wind tunnel, and that's all there is. It's just the elements. It's just naturally air, that's all. There's no artificial heat whatsoever.
Although generally savoury, different seaweeds have distinctive flavours. This is sugar kelp, which when dried forms a sweet-tasting white powder on its surface.
You make wine and sherry out of this.
Why waste that on sherry?
I know, but they'd use that in a stock or again, as a soup.
This has less of an intense flavour.
Because it's a kelp, it's higher up in the shoreline, it spends a lot less time underneath the water.
OK.
So it's less intense.
Although still a small-scale operation, Ian ships his seaweed all around the world, and his clients include some of Britain's top chefs.
You've seen a market, and you're doing it, aren't you?
That's what I have to do. It's great. I don't have to leave the island now.
That's the
I'm
dream,
here
isn't
all
it?
the time. It's living the dream.
Well, I wish you the best of luck for your business in the future.
Great stuff.
Be back up.
Good.
Thanks, Jen.
Look forward to it. See ya.
Well, we've seen really good reactions from both Steve and Rebecca at all 3 properties, haven't we? But for me, I think the first house has led from the front. Let's find out their thoughts. Let's talk about the houses. Have you got a favourite?
We think property number 1 is our favourite. It's a safe option from travelling up and down in the initial next few years. The garden is fantastic for the dogs, the walks up the mountains, and it is a lock-up and leave property, really. Safe proposition, I think.
But there's more to it than that, surely, Steve?
I think for me, about the first house was, I think the build quality was good, and being in the renewable industry, and I can certainly modify it and make it much more energy efficient without too much intrusive and remedial works required.
Because there's not many houses on the market, I think, that would pass your high standards, but it was good that this house could get there for you.
Yeah, it should be pretty damn close, without a doubt. Yeah, it was easy to work with, and I think more than anything, because it was so open, you've got all the options. You haven't got to knock walls down to make stuff work. The only minor point, which is one of the things we'll probably go back and look at, is how we're going to overcome the sloping ceilings in the bathrooms.
So you mentioned you're going to go back to the house as a formal viewing?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
When?
Today.
Hopefully this afternoon.
This afternoon?
Yes.
That's amazing news. I'm really pleased. Well, I wish you the best of luck later this afternoon when you go back for that second viewing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me know what happens, won't you?
Certainly.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you remember, when I first met Steve and Rebecca, they said the most important thing for them was to have a house with sea views, or at least views of a loch like this. So it's quite a turnaround to hear that the one property out of the 3 they've gone for has none such views. But in a way, it has the whole package, doesn't it? It still had fantastic views of the mountains, but it was configured in a way they really liked. There's no real work to be done to the property itself. So I'm really buoyed to hear they're going back for a second viewing, and I can't wait to find out what happens next. See you next time.
Steve and Rebecca did go back for a second viewing on the first property we showed them, and they put in an offer which I'm delighted to report was accepted. They eagerly await the keys to start their new life in Scotland, and we wish them both the very best. If you'd like to escape to the country in Scotland, Wales, England or Northern Ireland and need our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.